Welcome everyone to We the People, being broadcast to you live at the Down the Road Brewery here in Everett, Massachusetts. It's being brought to you by Disrupt Boston. We the People is a show that talks to everyday Americans about things that concern them. Again, let's give out a shout out to the Down the Road Brewery for an amazing place to host a show.
Yeah.
And I'm enjoying one of their cranberry lime hard soda. And then what are you enjoying today?
I've got the Dreamtime IPA. It's
okay.
delicious.
Delicious, yes.
Cheers, man.
And again, welcome to the show, everyone, and thanks for tuning in. This is We the People, and today's guest is one of a close friend to the industry of the cannabis, newly emerging cannabis, green new economy here in Massachusetts. Ed D'Souza with River Run Gardens.
That's correct.
All right. Well, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Well, you're very welcome. I'm very interested in your story, and I wanted to share your story with the people out there and let them know some of the things, the issues that are going on with actually putting together a cannabis business or marijuana business.
Oh, man.
And again, thank you for coming to the show.
Yeah.
And I'd like you to start off by letting us know what River Run Gardens is about, and then
Absolutely.
how you got started. And, just give us a little background.
Yeah, so River Run Gardens started as a dream. Okay. It really did. Unfortunately, I lost my mother back in 2004, and it was from cancer. And I had always wondered, could marijuana, cannabis, have helped? So I started studying. I started growing, and I started looking into what I could do to help people with cannabis. From there, when medical laws were passed in this state, I tried to open up a business, so I put together a business plan, but the capitalization requirements were so large that you couldn't really get in.
No.
So, I mean, at this time, I had spent 20 years in the information technology world.
Okay.
And when question 4 came around, I was giddy. I was like everybody else. I could not wait to sign yes for question 4. And then a miracle happened. The Cannabis Control Commission decided that they were going to put a category in for micro businesses.
Okay.
Then micro businesses, the intention was to get the everyday Joe into the cannabis market, to get an array of colors in the cannabis market, as opposed to what's happened in Colorado and California and Vegas and others. So my plan went from medical to recreational. And River Run Gardens was started by myself and my father, a self-funded organization. We decided to take the risk of putting our own assets into the company instead of looking for investors. And we searched long and hard to find the people to join us. And we found a horticulturist that has a PhD in in plants and biology. We found a grower coming out of Maine that's been doing this for 20 years in the medical side. And when we all got together and we came up with a beautiful product. From there, we went to start a business, and we were there, man. We were going to be one of the first in the state with the license.
Okay, and then so your plans were, obviously laid out. And so what has been like, I guess, like the roadblock to those plans?
Oh, well, you would think it would be the CCC or municipality or
what's the
anything
CCC?
Like that. The Cannabis Control Commission.
Okay, yeah.
But you would think it would be one of those. Unfortunately, there's still stigma out there.
Yes.
It's not the same as drinking this beautiful beverage right here. It is a stigma that, cannabis is a gateway drug. Cannabis is this, cannabis is that. So a prohibitionist pulled the rug from underneath us.
Unfortunate, very unfortunate. Because there is a lot of misinformation in regards to the cannabis being a gateway drug.
Oh, sure.
I believe like Dr. Uma Thurman has been quoted many times saying it's actually an exit way drug.
Yes.
And then people are always equating marijuana with the opiate crisis, unfortunately.
They are.
And marijuana is completely different subject line than it is when it comes to the opiate crisis. They're two separate different things.
Absolutely. But the good thing is, Rhodes,
What?
is that kind of like your next evolution of soccer moms wanting to get into something, the Jane Fonda workouts, the yoga, this and that, CBD is the latest craze. Yeah. And I will gladly accept CBD as a gateway to ruining the stigma, getting rid of the stigma, so that you and I can freely be accepted by society like we should be.
Well, one of my biggest contentions is that marijuana is a plant.
Yeah.
It grows on the planet naturally. It's part of Mother Nature. And I cannot believe how they equate it to chemicals, pharmaceuticals, and different things that are manufactured. Something
Sure.
that grows out of the earth that you just add water and sunlight, and there it is, as opposed to something where you put it through a Bunsen burner, you try free this and that, this process to get a
You're not reverse engineering anything.
Yeah.
You're letting something grow naturally. And unfortunately, the prohibitionist in the warehouse park that I was in doesn't agree. And what he did was he got a couple of people together and basically told them the lies that have been floating around for generations. If you walk past our warehouse, you're going to fail a drug test.
Okay, so if I walk by a bar, am I going to get drunk all of a sudden?
You would think if you walk by a girl, you're going to get her pregnant?
Yeah. So basically what he organized, and what did they do? Did they file an injunction against you?
Well,
what
what they did was they suddenly had an association, and he went ahead and filed with the Registry of Deeds to exclude cannabis business from the association. Bottom line, we have things tied up in legal right now because we had been paying rent to our warehouse for a long time. So it's not like we just moved in and crashed the neighborhood party. We had been there for quite some time. We had essentially established zoning. We had gotten our special permit. We had successfully negotiated our host community agreement, which is the toughest thing to do in this state. And we were ready to pay our licensing fee to press the button to go with the Cannabis Control Commission to get our micro-business license.
And then, so your business model, what were you going to be doing in your warehouse?
Yeah. Thank you. I'm sorry. Sometimes I get heated about this conversation.
Well,
We're cultivators.
Okay.
We grow the product that is going to be sold in the stores.
Okay.
I'm very fortunate to have learned from a boatload of people out there how to grow this fine product. I work with people that know how to grow things, and we grow it with love as opposed to mass producing a product that we call mids out in the community. Mm-hmm. So that's what we do. We don't manufacture, we don't sell to people, we stick with what we know.
Okay. And then, so unfortunately, this particular person, due to their negative views of marijuana, cannabis was able to thwart your effort. And you said you had already gotten a plan worked out with the town. So
Yes.
how's the town feeling about this? What's going on with them?
It's funny that you say that. So about 2 days after we had to take our stuff and put it into storage, because we were pretty much set up, we got a call from Mayor Holliday of Newburyport, who was asking us not to leave. Asking if we can look for alternative property in Newburyport because they wanted the donation. And that donation was already written into the future budget for 2019.
Aye.
So, and the same thing's happening in Boston right now.
Yeah.
You look at, there was $33 million allocated in the 2019 budget for Boston for the cannabis taxes. They're just opening up shops that are not even in Boston. So where's that money going to come from?
I don't know, and that's unfortunate that, again, the red tape has been an issue as far as like getting a business. And I thought, again, everyone's always, we're pro-business, we want business to grow, but
Yeah.
but this has been like one of the businesses that we've seen a lot of red tape and a lot of pushback.
Yep.
And unfortunately, it's not based on facts. It's based on innuendo and faulty science and past propaganda.
Absolutely.
I mean, that's not my, well, it is my opinion, but again, I can Google it and back it up with facts.
You certainly can.
If anyone wants to debate the issue. So as far as like, okay, so this person did this, what's your next step, or what are you like trying to do to, move on, I guess?
All right, so I equate myself as a free agent right now. We're looking for space.
Okay.
We're looking to keep our team together. We're looking for space. We believe that we have the product that will be successful enough to compete with the conglomerates, the big marijuana coming into the state.
And then you're saying they're from Colorado, Nevada.
Canada is the biggest.
Oh, that's right. The
You look
Sale
at
Corporation.
Leviathan,
Yes.
exactly. They're the biggest.
Okay.
But here's the thing. There are small businesses in Massachusetts
Yes.
that are going to be putting out product that can compete.
Okay.
I hope you don't mind me going in this little direction, but I was very fortunate to work with the Commissioner Shalene Title earlier this year.
She's a great person.
She is a great person.
Very
She's
honorable.
the only one fighting for us. But I was very fortunate enough to work with her over Twitter, believe it or not, when it came up for the amount of energy you can use for the grow lights. The Massachusetts environmental, the energy consumption, they wanted to limit it to 36 watts per square foot, which essentially means you use LED lighting.
lights.
However, after begging and pleading with Commissioner Title, she was able to bring on the commission a suggestion that businesses under 10,000 square feet, the small businesses, the mom and pops, are allowed to use 56. Is it 56? Yeah, it's 56 watts per square foot, which means that we can use the lighting we're used to using in our grow environments. Well, big marijuana is going to be forced to use LED. And that gives us a leg up on the product that we deliver and the way that we can grow and supplement our plants.
Okay. Well, I'm glad that you guys, a little victory is some sort of victory and stuff.
You take what you can.
Yeah, you do. And then continuing the battle and stuff, as far as like being, I know you said you invested your life saving, it was a personal.
Yeah.
So
how do I still have this on my finger? I don't know.
No, it is kind of tough. Like, again, when you're trying to start something and when everything from regulation to unforeseen people getting involved that have no understanding or comprehension of what's going, what the impact is of their, of the action. So you're trying to grow a medical product. Are you also going to go into recreational as well?
Well, we're primarily recreational right now because the laws for medicinal has not changed.
Okay.
The Cannabis Control Commission has acquired the medical side, or will be acquiring the medical side, and they've been having open public comments based on what they should do, this and that. But the old requirements are still there. You still have to have $400,000 liquid at all times. You still have to go ahead and pay the $30,000 license fee, non-refundable. You still have to, so we're recreational, but the people that buy from us, they're going to be able to, decide whether or not, well, they have to. There's a certain percentage that has to be reserved for medical patients. So we're going to be growing for both.
Okay. So the thing that you kind of just mentioned that just kind of blew my mind was the fact that, okay, like as far as like your growing facility and you guys doing all that investment and work into putting together a product, do you guys already have people lined up as far as like, hey, we're going to be committed to getting product from you?
The easiest thing in this business is to line up your clients. Reason being is there's not enough product right now to go around for all the people that want to use this wonderful drug. Yeah, it is a drug. It's a substance. I'm sorry. I mean, I look at it as, it's a gift from Jah. But yeah, people call it a drug, so I apologize to anybody who gets offended about that. But you know what? In terms of the, commitment to clients, yeah, we had customers that are looking at us that are saying, hey guys, what's going on? You're going to be able to get a building, when is, but they're in the same boat as we are in terms of the scrutiny, the licensing, everything else. Because the people that we work with are the small people.
Yeah. So, like, how are small people supposed to get in with $400,000 and $30,000 non-refundable? So, like, yeah, how if that's supposed to be for small business owners, I don't know any small business owners.
Well, that's medical.
Okay.
So, I did a thing at CannaCon this year earlier on how to get into the business for under $1 million.
Okay.
Reason why I did this was because through my adventure, I have sat in countless seminars that started off with, unless you have $5 million, leave this room. Well, I'll tell you what, I don't have that money. My father doesn't have that money. We have peanuts, and that's what we put into it, but that's all we had. And we were able to, if when all said and done, we're going to be able to make this business for under $1 million. And that being said, the plan that I have that I share with other like-minded individuals will get us debt-free in under 2 years. So, you know what the secret is? Don't be greedy.
Share.
You share.
Because you care.
You share. You offer equity to your employees.
Yes.
So that they work harder. And you sit there and you say, I don't need a yacht. I don't need this 24-bedroom house. I don't need, all these cars. Mm-hmm. I need to pay my bills, make sure my kids are happy, and make sure that I can contribute to the community that allows me to do business in their area.
No, that is awesome. I mean, that's one of the things I love about the labor movement in this country. And unfortunately, the unions have been pushed back because of the Republican or the powers that be, their rhetoric that kind of shut down the unions. But the unions are what gave us the 5-day work week. Although they really wanted 4 days, they wanted to have Friday, Saturday, and Sunday off. But we don't want to talk about that.
We got a big win.
Yeah.
Local 26.
What happened with
the hotel workers in Boston?
That's right.
My best friend is
they got a good raise.
They not only got the raise, they're now not only working for $3 tips. I mean, $3 plus tips. They now have health insurance.
Nice.
They now actually have, their slogan, one job is enough.
Yeah.
They now have one job.
And that is crazy that, in America, if you don't, one job, minimum wage, no one on a minimum wage, the statistic is no one on minimum wage can afford to have a 2-bedroom apartment anywhere in America. That's unfortunate. No
How
matter
about
where.
Boston?
Well, not in Boston, not in New York, not even in the Midwest, not even in wherever you are.
Yeah.
On average, no one that is paid minimum wage, no matter what it is in that state, can afford a 2-bedroom apartment on their own.
Yep.
So, and again, it's kind of like one of those things where it's the way the mathematics work. It's are they really trying to oppress you economically for you so that way you can't move up? And the fact that they're trying to keep you out of the quote unquote a multi-billion-dollar business and only letting big corporations in.
Big corporations, yep.
And then again, the little guys being stepped aside or stomped upon. It's just unfortunate that that's happening.
It's unfortunate that's happening, but you know what? It's better than what's happening in what we don't talk about. How about the brother sitting in jail, the sister sitting in jail, because they had a couple of grams of cannabis on them, and it may have been the second or third time they got caught, and now they got 15 to life or whatever because of 3 strikes.
Yeah.
What about, Pop sitting in jail for 30 years?
No, and that is unfortunate, and that's again, those are the casualties, or the prisoners of wars, I would say.
Yeah.
So that's one of the casualties that they're not addressing, and the fact that now marijuana is legal in this state, I don't see. And then it's funny.
Is it legal?
No, there's a gray area.
There's a gray area.
Yeah.
And you know what? We're working towards full legalization. Yeah. I don't want to promote anything, but there are groups out there that fight for the progressive cannabis rights that we deserve. Expungement, social consumption, delivery services. These are things, the delivery service is the easiest way to get into the market. California's proven this. There are more people of color that own delivery services in California than any other cannabis industry in the country.
Okay.
You know what? That's how we get in. That's how we take things back. That's how we make sure that somebody...
Yeah, because for years and years, the disproportionate number of people that were going to prison for this plant were people of color.
Yeah.
And again, poor people that couldn't afford...
people.
Yeah, poor people. And that's the thing associated with, unfortunately, with being a person of color. I mean, I don't know if you saw the latest, one of the Boston Globe did a story, and they said the median average worth of a black family in the Boston and Massachusetts area, I believe, was $8, while the white family was worth $250,000.
Oh, I highly believe that.
And it was, and people were contesting, because of this. No, it doesn't matter.
There's always an excuse why.
Yeah,
Instead of looking at
the actual
$8 versus this, I mean.
And so, understandably, they have less representation or better legal representation in court when it comes to fighting these things. And again, many people of the Caucasians get caught, but they either get a little slap on the wrist, an expungement, let's get rid of that record.
Affluenza.
Yeah. The kid that ended up, killing somebody, and then he tried to...
killed people. He ran away to Mexico.
And again, dad had the money, and it was like, I left my teenage son live in the house by himself, and again, that's the whole thing of you have enough money, you think you can get away with everything. And unfortunately, our president is the perfect example of that. He literally grew up with a silver spoon in his mouth, and he represents what's kind of messed up with the system currently right now, where it's it's not everyone's on equal footing. It's you got more money, you got more representations, more lobbyists, more lawyers, more, so.
But I'll say this. I mean, I tend to stay away from red and blue politics because ultimately my goal is my family's education to make their own decision. And I do that with all my friends too. I get friends on the left and the right. I get friends who, are ultra conservative, ultra liberal and all that. And I look around, what is the one common denominator?
Green. Cannabis.
No,
it's true. I'm about the new green economy, and it's about, we should have a green party.
Yeah.
It's the red and the blue have gotten together and boom, messed up the country. It's just kind of messed up that, the Democrats and Republicans don't seem to know what to do.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, it's the majority of the people want this country to work and do the right thing. And I feel that marijuana might be the gateway to liberating this country.
So you know what? They're right. It is a gateway drug.
Yeah.
Well, there's a funny meme I saw earlier today that said, 5 drunk guys start a fight. 5 stoned guys start a band.
Yes.
I mean, how true is that?
That is very true. Again, there's another thing that they'd mentioned, in Colorado businesses. A lot of people were going all right, I have a bar, and the guy was saying all right, and now I'm going into the cannabis business. And he's drunk people will tend to get into a fight or argument, and if you tell them they're too drunk, you're cutting them off. They're no.
Yeah.
Says, pothead, you're hey, you had too much. They're well, can we help you with the dishes and clean up? He's what would you rather have as customers? People that are willing to take, yes, you're you're the boss.
Right.
Your bar. You said I had enough? Okay. And he's they're not going to, they will help you clean up.
Well, I'll tell you, I was at a sesh a couple of weeks ago, and I'm looking at my, shout out Irie Lion, man. I was with Irie, and I look around and I say, everywhere else you go to, people are looking at their cell phones, they're talking to you, looking at their cell phones. Only at a sesh, Are you going to get people hugging, high-fiving, talking, doing stuff that, is...
Engaging, yes. And they stay engaged.
Absolutely. How are we going to break all the stigmas and barriers and all that, if we can't give another brother a hug, right?
Yeah. That is true, and it is like, that's the messed up thing is like, oh, peace, love, and happiness. Like, again, people are like, oh, they frown upon it, and I'm like, what's wrong with peace? What's wrong with happiness?
Yeah.
And in the cannabis, like the side effects, the side effects that I've like witnessed, from my own thing is like either makes you sleepy, happy, or hungry.
Yep.
And what's wrong with those three things?
Yeah. You know what? You don't get upset when your sports team loses.
No.
You don't go home and say, hey, honey, come over here, and, you get your dukes up and all that.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, no, no, I've heard of the roid rage or the alcohol, liquid courage or whatever they call it. Well, no. Yeah, again, I can't speak for everyone, but generally speaking, that is the side effects are you're either sleepy, happy, or hungry.
Yep.
I don't see anything wrong with those. And the thing is, it's not like you're sleepy, you're gonna pass out unless you consume too much. But even then, it's not like you're like. I don't encourage people to ever drink and drive or smoke and drive. It's
Safety.
Illegal. Definitely make sure you guys be safe, and you got to make sure that you guys are like, again, you share the roads, and you share. It's part of being public and being responsible. Because you're sharing the roads, in the airways, what have you. You're sharing it with other people.
We don't want to mess it up for other people.
No, we don't. And that's the thing. It's like we want to make sure.
Because ultimately, our powers to be are giving us a privilege.
Yeah.
It's a God-given right, but right now it is a privilege.
Yes.
So we don't want that privilege taken away.
No, not at all. We want to actually turn that privilege into a right or make it natural again.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. And I feel like, again, it's a natural part of the environment. It grows. It's a plant. It's not like we're manufacturing something. It was here for thousands of years, and we evolved with it. And it wasn't until 1937 where there was some sort of financial motivation.
Definitely financial.
And there was definitely money motives behind it becoming illegal. And they always say this: the first casualty of war is the truth. So they obviously lied about the effects of marijuana and how. Do your own research and Google it. But again, it was the whole propaganda campaign, and Reefer Madness was part of it. It was stating that black men would take over or make white women love black men and stuff like that. And I'm like, wait a second, what's wrong with that? People loving each other.
Oh, whoa.
Oh, no, we don't. And I'm going again, with the whole race thing, and I'm going it's a penis and a vagina. If they get together and they make a baby, God said they made the baby, all right? You telling me, no, they're going to get together. I'm like, excuse me? It's it's biology.
Yep.
If you, not saying that people do, whatever. But if you do a cat and a dog together, are they going to put a baby? No, they're not. You can genetically do that these days, but I'm just saying, it doesn't happen. It's not part of Mother Nature and stuff.
Yeah.
So, and that is the unfortunate thing. It's we've gotten from being natural to trying to being normal to adhere to the societal track, structure.
But Rhodes, you know what? We got one life. We got to be happy.
Yeah.
I know we're segueing from cannabis to life and all that stuff, but you got to be happy regardless. As long as kids aren't affected, people aren't affected and all that. Be happy.
Yeah. Live and let live. That's the whole thing is unless it's personally affecting you, I don't see why. Even same thing with abortion. If it's not your kid, it's not your kid. Why do you want to stop someone else from having an abortion? It's their body, their decision, their life. You're not going to take over and take care of the kid, pay for the kid, send the kid to college. So why are you forcing
Well, this is the thing that, oh man, you're going to trap me now, aren't you?
No.
So isn't it funny that we always want to be pro-life, but as soon as that life is born, we don't want to take care of it?
No, absolutely. I say that all the time.
I had to be as political with that as possible.
As soon as it comes out of the womb, you're on your own.
Yeah.
What's up with that? How come you don't want to protect the baby now? No health care, no education, no food? Come on. You want me to have the baby, but you don't want to support me for having that baby.
Do you mind if I bring something up?
Please do.
And it's talking about the human nature and something like this right now. There's a sister out in our community that just got a home again. She's got 5 sons. She was homeless for the majority of this year. and everybody always chimes in on, oh, I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry. Well, she has a GoFundMe page right now, and she's just trying to have a nice Christmas for her kids. If you're friends with me on Facebook, please, look me up because she needs some help.
Yeah.
She needs some help.
No,
and,
please do.
Words are words, but you know what? If you can contribute $1, she's just looking for, she got 5 sons, looking for some help.
Wow. And I mean, I'm glad you kind of gave a shout out. It's a human story. And that's unfortunate that, again, people have to go through GoFundMe pages to do that. But thank God for that, because before that, what avenue did they have to kind of get the word out and get, money?
If Judge Kavanaugh can get $500,000 because people thought that he was unfairly treated, why can't a hardworking mom get $1,000 to give her kids a nice Christmas?
Yeah, that's because, it's unfortunate that if you're Charles Barkley said this, and he was saying, when I was poor and growing up, I would beg, and no one wanted to help me. Now that I'm a millionaire, everyone wants to give me free stuff.
Yeah.
And he's like, do you understand that, like, I don't need your free stuff now.
Yeah.
I'm fine. Give it to the people that need it. And yet the people that need it, they're like, oh, no, I can't work.
So let's bring this back to cannabis and something that River Run aims to do.
Okay.
We know that we're going to make money off our product and be comfortable and and all that, but we're still going to give away product for $1 for people that need it, for veterans, for people that are below the poverty line, for hardworking moms and dads that have to make the choice between this for their kids or their meds so they can go ahead and get rid of the anxiety or the shakes or whatever it may be. So, I can't give out the full details, but anybody that works with us has to understand that we are going to give product that they need to give away for $1. Okay. Because legally we can't give it away as a enterprise.
Yes.
But we can sell it for $1, and I'll be sure that if you're going to work with River Run, we're going to be part of the same dream to help give away product for people that need it.
That is so very considerate and awesome of you to actually be thinking of people. And that's the thing, a lot of people forget that, okay, they're building a business, but without your employees and your customers, which are people, your business doesn't run.
Yeah.
It's not just about money, it's about the people. And if you don't treat your employees right, you don't teach your clients right, you're not going to have a business running, very long. And then I commend you for, doing that and putting forethought into that.
And this isn't an original idea because, again, when you're a small business, especially a small business in the cannabis industry, you hire family. When you're big marijuana, you hire numbers.
Yeah.
I mean, if you can look at the wages that used to be in the black market, the gray market, you were getting $30 an hour as a trimmer.
Yeah, and bring that point up. Yeah,
but now in the legal market, you're getting maybe $7, $8, $9, $10 if you're lucky.
I know Ermont was like $15 or $13 an hour. They start you off with.
I mean, not bad.
Yeah.
But in all honesty, how is it that the guy who has been doing this for 20, 30 years on the underground paid you twice the amount that the big guys are willing to pay you?
Well, that's the thing. Again, the profits are trickling up. They don't trickle down.
Oh, trickle up economics.
Yes. And unfortunately, that is the thing. I mean, in theory, it's supposed to, but it never worked. Trickle down economics has never worked. It is like
it works for poor people.
Well, poor people, if they're given money, they will spend
it.
And that's how the economy is supposed to work.
Yeah.
And a thriving middle class, that's how you build the country. Yeah. Because you have all the money with the elite, they're just going to keep the money, hoard the money because they don't need to. Yeah. and it's kind of funny how they always say, oh no, it's like you're taxing us too much. But it was funny when Trump got into office, he did something with the tax laws, and all of a sudden Apple was able to find $140 billion or $1 trillion that they had in an offshore account. It's just to me when you're rich, you have lobbyists, lawyers, legislators, everything working to write the laws in your favor. And when you're poor, it's our vote. And unfortunately, that's been through Citizens United other Supreme Court decisions
Sure.
our rights are being like slowly but surely kind of like how should I say diluted. Because again we still vote, but that the electoral college, they decide, it doesn't matter the number of the votes or what have you, they kind of like make their decision in regards to what they're going to do with especially with the presidential vote and stuff.
Yeah. Brother, like I mentioned earlier, when I look at politics, I look at, is my family okay? Are my friends okay? Because as somebody recently pointed out, I could shout as loud as I want, and it may or may not make any change.
Mm-hmm.
But ultimately, what I can control are my friendships and my family.
Yeah. Okay. No, and that's the thing that we should kind of like focus on. Like you said, it's a family business. You guys like invested a lot of your own sweat, blood, and tears, and you're inspired by the unfortunate passing of your mom and stuff. And I see the humble beginnings of a business that is being thwarted, unfortunately, by negative stereotypes. And one of the things I feel like is like the politicians are the ones perpetuating the stereotype. They're not basing on science and new evidence. The cognitive dissonance is very strong. I mean, like, look at the prison industry, the police industry. They have so much money invested in keeping marijuana illegal that they don't want to look at the new evidence that points out that it's something good for people.
Massachusetts is very lucky that we don't have for-profit prisons.
Thank goodness.
But there are lots of for-profit prisons in this country that don't want to see cannabis become legalized, because that means a reduction in numbers. And when they have a reduction in numbers, you're going to have to lay people off. And prison guards don't want to be laid off.
No.
And I don't want to see people laid off.
No, neither do
However, I also don't want to see people, earning a living while there's people that are locked up for nothing.
But that's the thing, exactly, because I attend a lot of community meetings, and it's always funny to me how all violent offenders can go out like, oh, he's carjacked 17 times, he's stabbed someone 30 times, like he keeps getting in and out of jail, but yet someone that has a non-violent marijuana conviction can spend 20, 30 years, or how many years in jail, and their life is ruined. But someone that's an habitual violent offender seems to get away with I don't know what's going on. Where's the justice there? And that's all I'm asking for, is a little justice for the justice that makes sense.
And it goes further than that, because now that we have 2 recreational shops in Massachusetts, people are forgetting they can still be drug tested. They can still lose their job for consuming a legal product in a legal state. Imagine that. Imagine you get home from work, you decide to have a cocktail, and you go back to work the next day, you're fine. You go to a recreational shop that was voted yes by the people of this Commonwealth. You pay the taxes that go to the municipality, the state, the cannabis tax, everything. You get home, because you can only get 3 grams because there's a ration on what you can get. You waited in line all day long. You got home, you're in your living room, you decide to roll a spliff, and you go to work the next day, and, hey, John, let's take a piss test and find out if you have a career or not.
That is a shame. And it's like, it's one thing if they had performance-based tests. They're like, hey, your job is critical. We need to make sure that you're doing the thing.
Absolutely.
Like, airline traffic pilots and stuff like that. That's one thing where, like, okay, it's performance. Because it's like the whole, like, testing of substance, marijuana stays in your system for 30 to 40 days.
Yeah.
While if you're doing heroin, coke, all those other things, 24 hours is gone. And they can't, but again, though, it's just kind of skewed how they view like something that is made, that has helped people, like showed people how to relax or help people with cancer, with pain. And it's like there are a lot of benefits to it, but again, because it's been stigmatized through the war on drugs, now
here's another question. So you know how pharmaceutical companies are now getting involved, right?
Yeah.
So if I take Marinol, am I gonna lose my job because it was a pharmaceutical that contained THC?
Because you got the prescription for it.
Oh, so you follow the money. Just follow the money.
It's the dollar for the power, something like that. I can't remember. There was a quote I heard tonight earlier, and it was about following the money.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's about the dollar and the power, something like that, but I can't remember. But it is about, bottom line, it always came down to the money.
Yeah.
And the power struggle that we have as far as like trying to, again, like you said, well, like I mentioned, the fact that you have you mentioned for-profit prisons.
Yes.
They're one of the biggest advocates. And I believe, I'm not sure, I don't even know if the Catholic Church is behind some of the propaganda that is still being perpetuated.
Well,
I don't know.
You know, again, he who casts stones, right?
Yeah. But again, there are a lot of people that are invested in keeping it. Like a lot of sheriffs and police departments, they want it to still remain illegal.
Sure.
And I'm like, well, like, what crimes it's not stopping domestic violence. You're not stopping rapists. You're not stopping violent criminals. You're basically stopping someone that was like, hey, I want to go home and relax and have a doobie or edible or whatever it is. And then that's the person that you're going to go after. And most people that consume cannabis aren't violent.
No.
They're the most laid back people in the world.
Yeah.
But yet it's like, those are the people they're going to go after because I guess it's either they're non-violent and they know they're not going to resist, But I don't see why that they would be considered public enemy number one.
They shouldn't be. And you know what? I've talked to a number of people in law enforcement that are actually happy because they now, there's good and bad everywhere. Yeah. But the good ones, they want to focus on the rapes, the child abusers, the people, the fentanyl, the hard stuff that are killing people.
Absolutely. Yeah. Then that's the thing. Wow, like I'm glad that you mentioned that and stuff like that. Because again, there's LEAP, which is an organization called Law Enforcement Against Prohibition.
Okay.
And they're definitely pro-marijuana, and there are a lot of ex-cops, sheriffs that are saying, yeah, marijuana should be legal.
Yep.
But yet their voice is always being drawn down by the official police department.
Sure.
And it's like we don't hear enough about people that are, like even the medical community, there are people that are saying, no, they want cannabis legal.
You know what? If you ask the officer that stands in front of Netta in Brookline what he thinks of people that consume, I think two things will happen. One, he's going to tell you he sees all walks of life. And two, he'd much rather do that detail than do a detail at a beer garden because that detail is paying more and there's a civil obedience that is taking place. People are waiting in lines. People are talking to each other. Beer gardens? We all know what happens at beer gardens. Oh, wait, our governor loves beer gardens.
So does our mayor.
Oh, yeah. You mean the guy who just said, I hope the tax money is worth the moral decay or something along those lines?
Unfortunately, I don't want to get into details in regards to that, but again, politicians have their own motive or their own agenda.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, again, it's never really based on the truth or on the facts. It's based on their opinion.
Absolutely.
And what they what they choose to recognize as facts.
Yeah, and you can very easily see it's based on opinion. I mean, when Mascan had the city council meeting on the Freedom Rally, you had Councilman Zakum challenge the lawyer from Mascan to a fight outside. Because people are always guarded on their opinions. Nobody wants to be wrong or challenged or anything like that. But you can easily see these people through.
Yeah.
I mean, science, education, opinion.
Yes.
You're going back to the Catholic Church there. Again, science, education, opinion.
And then that's the whole thing too. It's like the lesson I feel is like we should learn is from Prohibition. And the lesson from Prohibition was like, hey, making it illegal created the black market.
Yeah.
And that's how the Al Capones and the gangsters started, and they wanted to protect their profits. Same thing with the cannabis. Now you've gotten
the cartels. The cartels. I mean, if you follow what's happened, I mean, the first seedless crop, Sensimilla, which stands for seedless, came out of Mexico.
Wow.
The Mexican cartel was pushing the product to the States. When the No on Drugs came out and started, cracking down on the marijuana in Mexico, they went to cocaine. They went to harder drugs. Just think about this. If you never cracked down on it, they would have stuck with the marijuana. Or if you allowed it to be legal, there would be no cartel.
Yeah, exactly. No, and that's the thing. Prohibition creates a black market.
Yeah.
It doesn't, because again, people were already doing it beforehand. All you did now is like say, oh, you got to go underground and hide it now.
Yep.
And shame for you on doing it. And there was supposed to be a thing called separation of church and state. And the whole idea of like when the church starts to like legislate, tell them, oh, you got to make this illegal, you got to make abortion legal, you got to make weed illegal, you got to make alcohol. It doesn't work out because it's like if God gave us a free will, let us exercise our free will.
Ooh, how
you don't
about this,
need
Rhodes?
laws to
If they want to go ahead and tell us what to do and what to support,
pay your taxes.
Brother,
Yeah.
I knew you were going there.
No, and
pay your
the
taxes.
And that's an unfortunate thing is the fact that, again, with the church and their opinion and the fact that they have the bully pulpit every Sunday and they can get in front of people and just kind of tell people certain things and people don't question it. I encourage people, really, there's the internet, there's Google, there's information out there, there's YouTube. Fine, do your own research. Like, seriously, I call it YouTube University. You want to learn how to fix a car, how to grow a plant, how to do whatever you want to learn how to do, go on YouTube, type it, and there's a video about it. And whatever, like cannabis cures, I tell you, Google that and watch some videos on that because cannabis does cure and people telling you their own story. It's not a pharmaceutical, it's actual patients sharing their story of like what they found the benefits of cannabis to be. And that's one of the things I really want to encourage people to do is like do your own research, do your own independent thinking. Don't be lazy and don't just accept people's opinions as facts.
Yeah.
Like really, really like
Learn for your own.
Learn on your own. And that's why God gave you a brain. He didn't give you a brain so other people can lead you.
Yep.
He gave you a brain so you can lead yourself and take care of yourself. You know what I mean? So I'm so sorry that your business is going through this and you're like, because it's like I don't see the point of like impeding a business from growing. And again, this is America. We're supposed to be pro-business and
Pro-small business.
Pro-small business, and here they are impeding you from growing a business. I mean, the church. I mean, I'm granted. Like, do they? How many people has the church hired lately? I know you're supposed to volunteer as a priest, right? As a nun, work for nothing. So I mean, like, again, you're actually employing people. I know it's like you're starting small with your family, but other people, there'll be other ancillary products and other services that are being provided.
We're looking to hire.
You know?
We're definitely looking to hire. I mean, as we grow, we're going to hire more people. One of the things that sets us apart too is that we don't machine trim, we hand trim. So we pay people. You know, we pay people a decent wage. I mean, that Henry Ford model of, you know what, what's the point of working if you can't afford to buy the product yourself?
Exactly.
So,
and that's another thing too. It's like I don't know. Remember, you know the play The Miserables? Les Miserables? The point of that play, I don't know if you play it, again, is the fact that the factory was owned by the workers. Like you have equity with your workers, so there is no incentive to shut down the factory, no incentive to like cut back. Again, like you give it to big managers, big corporations, they don't care. They'll, like look what happened with GM today. Yeah, they're like.
I thought they weren't supposed to shut down.
No, well, you know, Mr. Trump made his promises. You know, promises.
That's fake promises.
Yeah, fake promises. Exactly. You know, then, you know. But that's the thing. It's like businesses. If the employees own the plant, they wouldn't shut down the plant. They'd find a way to keep the people working. All right, maybe we'll do less hours. We'll cut back. But
sure.
And that was the thing with Les Miserables. They were like, okay, the guy was like, you guys own the plant now as workers. And it's like, okay, as workers, we know what we're doing to keep the job going. And it's a co-op now. And that's the thing, like I see with this is like businesses, like it might change the whole business model for a lot of people to understand that, you know, management, corporations, like just having profit as their motive is not in the best interest of all people concerned.
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
You know,
it's not so much managers or executives. I mean, they've grown to this role. So it's like if you take a generation of people that, you know, like you said, can't think for themselves and they think, you know, they've grown up on TV and commercials and I have to have this, I have to have that, I have to have this. You know, I graduate college, I get married, I get the job, I work 40 years, which doesn't work anymore. And then, you know, I make the money. I got to be in management in order to make the money. I got to do this. Whatever happened to being happy? You know, my best friend says all the time, you know, there's not a lot of good music coming out nowadays. You want to know why? Because people are afraid to take the risks. your street musician is a lot better than the stuff you have on the radio nowadays, because he's out there trying, earning coins as people are walking by, playing his heart and soul on a guitar or a keyboard or bucket on drums.
Yeah.
You have a lot less of that happening because people want to be the middle managers. They want to be the executive. They want to sit there, and vacation up in New Hampshire for 3-4 weeks a year while their wife doesn't work and all that. Which is nothing wrong with that dream.
No, there is nothing wrong
with that dream. But are you really happy?
I can't answer that for them. But my thing is like it's like, as far as like making sure that when people come to work for you, your employees or what have you, it's like they're people as well, and you can't just treat them as numbers. Like
no, it can't be a number.
Boom, laid off, shut down the plant, move this or whatever. It's all about the numbers, and it's like. And that's the thing with the small business, you're more connected, you're more in tune with your employees and your clients, so you're not going to be just about the bottom, bottom line. You'll find creative solutions to keep your business afloat and take care of your clients and take care of your employees.
There's a nice balance out there. You just got to find it.
Yeah. So I definitely wish you all the success. And I want you to, when you actually get a shop open, I'd love you to come back, or your cultivation center open. I'd definitely like to come back and talk about how the process worked and what everything happened.
Absolutely.
And it's just kind of it's amazing that you're still doing this, because a lot of people would have already quit by now.
Well, what keeps me going is the fact that right now I'm fighting for my business, but I'm fighting for the other small businesses.
Okay.
And I'm out there. I mean, there was an RFQ that recently was put out by the Cannabis Control Commission for people to help economic empowerment applicants and such. And I was a little sad that I didn't get awarded this contract, because I've been doing this for 2 years now. I've been helping educate people on how to write business plans, how to work with your municipal government, how to work with your planning department, how to get there in the face so people know who you are, how to get contacts, how to be a marketer and all that. So I was hoping to get that, but you know what? Just because I didn't do it doesn't mean I'm not going to continue doing this.
Okay.
So if you wanted to open a business, or you wanted to open a business, let me know. Because I'm here to help, because the more small businesses we have in this community, the more the community is going to stick together. And ultimately, we're all going to win if we keep this community together.
Absolutely. And I think good props for small business. There was Small Business Saturday last weekend, and hopefully a lot of people went and supported small businesses, because that's the backbone of our economy. And then that's the thing. Fortunately or unfortunately, that's what grows an economy, is new small businesses.
Yep.
And the big giant corporations, the paradigm is shift, and they're not they're still influential and still powerful and stuff, but they're not in tune or in touch with the community as I feel that they should be.
Sure.
You know what I mean? They do more of their connection through algorithms, studies and all that kind of stuff, surveys, and that's how they keep their connections, market research, but they're not on the pulse or with the pulse of the community and stuff.
Sure.
So I mean, again, I wish you the best, and I want you to come back and definitely share the story and stuff.
Oh, well, I'll tell you what. I'll come back, but when we finally do open up, we're having a party to celebrate, and you better be there, brother.
No, I'm definitely going to be there. Brother, seriously, yes. I won't let you guys know about it, unfortunately, because, it's just...
You know what? I'm sure people watching out there are going to be the people invited as well, so...
Well, nice, very nice, very nice. So I definitely look forward to that. And seriously, Ed, thank you for coming on the show and sharing your story with us. And again, if anyone's looking for small business help or trying to get into the cannabis business, Ed's a great resource to reach out to. And River Run Gardens, look him up on Facebook.
Facebook, we got a website, we got a YouTube.
Okay.
But I mean, Facebook's where we're most active.
Okay.
And, I like to be able to interact with people as opposed to just reading reviews and all that stuff. So.
No, that's awesome. That that you're still you're in touch with the people and stuff. And that's the thing. Again, we the people is the name of the show. So we're about the people. We're not about the corporations. We're not about the dollar. We're about the people and the impact that cannabis has a positive impact on the community. And we should seek out the truth, and that's what we want to make sure is people are aware. Again, there are other peoples with other motives to not let you guys know that cannabis is a plant.
Yep.
And it helps. And there's a hemp as well part of it where you can make clothing, paper, cloth, everything out of it, fuel, fiber. So there are a lot of benefits to it that aren't being exploited currently. Not that it should be exploited, but they should definitely, it's a natural resource that we should use because fossil fuels are killing the planet, destroying the planet. But if we grow enough hemp, we can make hemp oil and turn that into fuel as well. So there's so many applications to this plant. And again, we should be able to explore it because it's part of Mother Nature. And again, thank you guys for watching. I'm sorry I'm kind of ranting and everything like that, but you guys are awesome. Please tell your friends, follow us on Facebook, spread the word, let the people know it's a We the People. I'm your host, Rhodes Pierre, and I'd like to thank Ed D'Souza for coming out to the show, and Disrupt Boston for producing it, and Down the Road Brewery for hosting. And it's a lovely place. Come and check out the artwork, the pinballs, and they do have a large variety of hard sodas, beverages, and thank you again for watching, and have a good night. Dude.